Hi there, I'm David Duncan and welcome to another episode of Fred and Ginger, Cheek to Cheek, where we'll look at two more films from Hollywood's greatest dance team. Now both of these films were released in 1936, but the first one was actually filmed in late 1935. As the composer Irving Berlin had such wonderful success with the score from Top Hat, he was held over to supply another list of hit songs, all under the musical direction of Max Steiner, in Follow the Fleet. Based on the Broadway play Shore Leave that had been such a success in the early 1920s, Follow the Fleet has Fred in the Navy as a sailor and also leader of the ship's band.
We saw the Pacific and the Atlantic, but the Atlantic isn't romantic and the Pacific isn't what it's cracked up to be.
Sailing, sailing, home again to see the girls upon the village green. Then across the home again to see the other seas we haven't seen.
As the fleet is pulling into San Francisco, he and his friend Bilge, played by Randolph Scott, are off on shore leave, with Fred in the hope he can catch up with his girlfriend Ginger, who's performing in a club.
Come, get together, let the dance floor feel your leather, step as lightly as a feather, let yourself go. Come, hit the timber, loosen up and start to limber, can't you hear that hot marimba, let yourself go.
Sherry!
Well, what a surprise seeing you here.
The backstory has Ginger's sister, played by Harriet Hilliard, as a drab, intellectual type of girl that meets Randolph Scott in the club and is politely given the brush.
I'll bet you dance beautifully.
No, not a step. Well, I gotta be shoving off. So long. Come to Papa. You sure work fast. Yeah, we're slow.
Backstage, she is encouraged to change her looks and with the help of a young Lucille Ball and Betty Grable, transforms into a girl who now immediately catches the eye of Randolph Scott.
You sure look different.
Romance blossoms until she mentions the word marriage, which pushes Randolph Scott into an affair with a married lady.
I've always wanted to sail on her to all those biggity places, with my husband at the helm.
Now, Randolph Scott played opposite Fred and Ginger and Irene Dunne the previous year in the film Roberta, and it was in that film that Fred and Ginger were relegated to almost secondary roles. But this film gets the balance right, with Fred and Ginger as the main stars, with the secondary roles of Randolph Scott and Harriet Hilliard adding real weight to the story. It's because of this that the film easily balances both story and musical elements, which results in one of the most enjoyable of the Astaire Rogers musicals.
Putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm betting everything I've got on you. I'm giving all my love to one baby. Heaven help me if my baby don't come through.
I've tried to love more than one, finding it just can't be done. Honey, there's one I lie to when I try to be true, too. So I'm putting all my eggs in one basket. I'm betting everything I've got on you.
Now, it's not widely known, but while in London in the mid-1920s, Fred studied piano at the Guildhall School of Music alongside his friend and colleague Noel Coward. His musical talent is certainly given the opportunity to shine in this scene from the film. Also, funnily enough, Follow the Fleet marks the only time where Ginger was given a solo dance number in the film she made with Fred. The Berlin song Let's Face the Music and Dance was the big set piece of the film, but was staged in a more intimate fashion than the big production numbers of the previous films. With a dramatic prologue set to dance that ultimately showed both Fred and Ginger about to commit suicide, it was way ahead of its time and a forerunner to the intricate and extensive dance routines that featured in Gene Kelly's masterpieces An American in Paris and Singing in the Rain.
There may be trouble ahead, but while there's moonlight and music and love and romance, let's face the music and dance.
Follow the Fleet also marked the film debut of Harriet Hilliard, who is better known as Harriet Nelson, who achieved great fame with her husband Ozzie in the 1950s with the successful TV sitcom The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet. Ozzie and Harriet's son Ricky Nelson also achieved fame as an actor and singer before becoming one of the first teen idols of the 1950s and 60s. All in all, Follow the Fleet is a really enjoyable film and provided RKO with another hit, which at the time earned a profit of $945,000 and became the pair's most successful film after Top Hat. Well, next up we have what would become Ginger Rogers' personal favourite of all the films that she made with Fred. With a wonderful score by Jerome, Kern and Dorothy Fields that included another Oscar winner, the team sang and danced their way through what would become one of their best-loved films, Swing Time. The story is a simple one and has Fred as a dancer with a travelling show who has more interest in gambling.
You ought to marry those dice. Marry? Holy cats! What time is it?
He's engaged to be married, but misses the wedding, so the girl's father refuses to allow it to happen until Fred has proved himself financially and raised $25,000.
Then Margaret and I can get married.
Well, you go to New York and work hard at your business. And if you're successful, you can come back here and ask me for my Margaret.
Oh, Daddy.
And in all probability, I'll be very happy to give it to you.
Travelling to New York with a friend played by Victor Moore, he runs into Ginger, who's employed as a dancing teacher.
You don't understand. I'm not trying to get acquainted. All I want to know is...
Miss Carroll, this is Mr. Garnett. This is Miss Penelope Carroll. We're all so fond of her here, you know. We just call her Penny.
In a fun little ruse, Fred pretends that he needs dancing lessons as a way to get to know her.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
I know, I'm fine.
Unfortunately, in the end, he only succeeds in getting her fired.
Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, start all over again.
Listen, no one could teach you to dance in a million years. Take my advice and save your money.
Miss Carroll, how do you think this school can exist if you turn away applicants? You're discharged.
But, Mr.
Get your things and go.
But I...
Get out.
Miss Carroll, I want to show Mr. Gordon how much you've just taught me.
No, never mind.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very sweet of you.
Please.
I'm very anxious for Mr. Gordon to see this because I think it's the most interesting experiment. Now, how did you say that last step went? Oh, yes. Shall we try it right through? Won't you sit down, Mr. Gordon?
Securing them both a dancing job in a top nightclub, Fred again messes things up by getting involved in gambling, which leads him to pleading forgiveness by singing one of the loveliest ballads from the 1930s.
Someday, when I'm awfully low and the world is cold, I will feel a glow just thinking of you and the way you look tonight. With each word your tenderness grows, tearing my fear apart. And that laugh that wrinkles your nose touches my foolish heart. Lovely, never, never change. Keep that breathless charm. Won't you please arrange it, 'cause I love you just the way you look tonight. Just the way you look tonight.
As usual, things are on again, off again, that leads them to conclude what a fine romance they've got themselves into.
A fine romance with no kisses. A fine romance, my friend. This is, we should be like a couple of hot tomatoes. But you're as cold as yesterday's mashed potatoes. A fine romance you won't nestle. A fine romance you won't wrestle. I've never mussed the crease in your blue serge pants. I never had the chance. This is a fine romance.
A fine romance with no kisses. A fine romance, my friend. This is true love should have the thrills that a healthy crime has. We don't have half the thrills that the march of time has. A fine romance with no clinches. A fine romance with no pinches. You never give the orchids I send a glance. No, you like cactus plants. This is a fine romance.
In the end, Fred decides not to go through with his engagement to his fiancée back home, and the happy couple sing their way to the big finale.
We two, darling, we'll
Never,
go
never
places.
change.
Goodbye.
Keep that breathless charm.
Morgan, goodbye.
These are
Faces,
because I
remember
know
how my arms hold you when we dance.
just the
But
way
we're not going to dance. This is a fine romance.
Now, besides the main songs, the film has some significant set pieces, one being the lovely Waltz in Springtime. This is followed by the magnificent Bojangles of Harlem, in which Fred plays tribute to Bill Bojangles Robinson, the great African-American tap dancer. Sadly, due to the blackface makeup, this routine is controversial today, which is a pity, as it's one of Fred's most innovative dance routines. Well, one dance sequence proved to be very difficult to complete successfully. As a first-hand eyewitness to the event, here's what Ginger wrote in her autobiography. "I never said a word about my own particular problem. I kept on dancing even though my feet really hurt. During a break, I went to the sidelines and took off my shoes. They were filled with blood. I danced my feet raw. Now Hermes Pan saw what had happened and offered to stop the shooting, but I refused. I wanted to get the thing done. Finally, we got a good take in the can and George said we could go home at 4 a.m. Well, even with the pain and suffering of bleeding feet, the filming of Swing Time proved to be a happy event for Ginger. You see, Mark Sandridge was the director on the previous Astaire Rogers films, and even though he was very competent, for some reason he didn't like Ginger. So much so that the producer, Pandro S. Berman, had to write him a letter reminding him that audiences don't come to see a Mark Sandridge film, but to see Fred and Ginger. Anyway, for this reason, it was a great relief for her to have George Stevens at the helm as the director, whom she greatly admired. Now, the cast also included wonderful comedy character actors like Victor Moore, Helen Broderick, and Eric Blore. Now, this cast of characters all added to the fun, and as a bit of trivia, the role of Judge Watson was played by Landers Stevens, who was in fact the father of the director of the film, George Stevens. Now, not only was Swing Time a huge commercial hit when released, but it also won the Oscar for Best Film Song of 1936 for The Way You Look Tonight. Well, it would be a hard combination to beat, but it wouldn't be long before the Gershwin brothers were signed to RKO to supply the songs for a new Astaire Rogers film, and that's what we'll look at in the next episode. I'm David Duncan. I hope to see you then.